Welcome back to Chicago Independent Television. Chicago Jobs with Justice, a local community advocacy group, also held an anti-bailout protest. In this next segment, we hear from James Tindwa, the director of the organization.
I say bailout, you say sell out, bailout. Sell out. Bailout. Sell out. I say bailout, you say sell out, bailout. Sell out. Bailout. Sell out. I say bailout, you say sell out, bailout. Sell out. Bailout. Sell out.
Yes, I'm James Tindwa, the executive director of Chicago Jobs with Justice. We called this action, it was called by National Jobs with Justice. All of our affiliates across the USA, all 47 affiliates today are participating in a national day of action to express our outrage at the current situation that is allowing Wall Street companies literally to get away with absolutely no accountability at all. And we're protesting the attempt by Congress, the attempt by the White House to ram through a piece of legislation, a bailout effectively, with no conditionalities around the responsibility of Wall Street firms, the responsibility of banks, for example, to homeowners. So we're calling for a freeze on foreclosures as the condition for any kind of congressional action on this bailout. We're also calling for an economic stimulus package that invests money in infrastructure development. As I mentioned early on, we've got bridges collapsing in Minnesota. We've got hurricanes and floods that are affecting so many communities across the country in this season, putting further stress on the infrastructure. So these are bills that will come home to roost. There has to be a commitment to invest in infrastructure, again, as a condition for any kind of bailout. This also has the potential to really stimulate, to create jobs for workers. Investments in infrastructure are not just a good public policy, it also makes sense from the standpoint of creating jobs for American workers who need good jobs. So this really this is all about accountability. We cannot accept the proposition that an economic crisis necessitates government action, but the day-to-day struggles of common folks, the healthcare crisis, somehow does not necessitate government action. Republicans and conservatives are fond of telling us that government is not the answer. Every time we say we want national health insurance, every person should be entitled to health care, their answer is always, almost like clockwork, reflexively, is government is not the answer. Well, here they are. There's an economic crisis. Wall Street is in trouble. What are they saying? Well, government is the answer. So it's socialism for rich people. And for some reason, poor people with no access to health insurance are supposed to just simply fend for themselves. This is an ideology now that has proven to be bankrupt. It's now up to us to really talk seriously about alternatives, to revive the idea that government ought to be there to service the interests of the people and not the interests of the very few who, quite frankly, have made out like bandits in this economy for the past 8 years.
I'm Alejandro Molina, and you're watching Chicago Independent Television.
I see the soul of a nation, must be true 'cause I've seen it on TV.
What would you do with $3 trillion? The $3 trillion shopping spree is your chance to find out. Want to reign over your own island nation? Go right ahead. Or maybe fund research that will cure a deadly disease. It's up to you. You can even wage an endless war that will cripple America's economy. With the $3 trillion shopping spree, anything's possible. Bill in Los Angeles bought 100,000 luxury yachts, 20,000 sprawling estates, and 650,000 private islands. Mary in Michigan gave health care to all Americans and still had $2.8 trillion left over. George B. in Washington started an illegal war that resulted in 151,000 dead Iraqi civilians. Gary in Indiana bought 1.5 billion pounds of beluga caviar. Debbie in New York bought 500 schools in her home state and still had $2,987 billion left for school supplies. Donald R. in Arlington, Virginia destabilized an entire region and displaced 4 million innocent people. What will you do with $3 trillion? Go to www.3trillion.org and spend, spend, spend.
Psst.